Work plan and deliverables by components. Component 1, institutional strengthening and updating for improved sustainable IWRM. The main deliverable for Outpoint 1.1 is a tested staged methodology for environmental flows to include hydrological, ecological, and socioeconomic factors. The project has established and fully trained national teams in each country to conduct the environmental flow study in the selected pilot basins. These two national teams gained experience needed to replicate the same study on other river basins when needed. Thanks to the extension of the project, we will continue an additional 4 monitoring campaigns to collect data for the environmental flows methodology. These missions are currently planned for June, July, September, and November 2020, depending on the COVID-19 restrictions. The work of the national eFlow teams will be supported by additional workshops with the national teams and international experts to further refine the data collection and analysis. In January 2021, we will wrap up with the stakeholder meetings on applying the proposed environmental flow methodology in other Kura River subbasins. After the project ends, the governments will have the option to adopt updated and staged environmental flow methodologies, which is a high priority in both countries. Guidance on this is provided by the project. This will enable decision makers to more effectively adopt standards and make decisions on allocation of limited water resources. The main deliverable for Output 1.2, Rational Water Use Regulation and Flood Risk Maps, is the Sectoral Water Management Practices Assessment for Supply and Demand for Improved Rational Water Use in each country, National Flood Risk Management Plans for the Kura River Basin. Most of the work for this output has been completed. The remaining work includes a 2-day training on flood risk management and scenarios-based hydrological modeling to predict the impacts of implementing certain measures for rational water use in different sectors on water availability in the basin, to be completed by December 2020. After the project ends, the intersectoral approach to water resource management will serve to inform decision-making in both Azerbaijan and Georgia. Currently, we are experiencing a significant 7-year drought, and institutional measures for integrating rational water use are in extremely high demand, and the project guidance material will continue to support the governments in this direction. Output 1.4, Pollution Abatement Plans. The final deliverable for Output 1.4 are pollution abatement plans for key sectors in each country and assessment of current permitting and enforcement systems with proposed strengthening measures. The pollution abatement plans apply to food and leather industries in the Kura Basin. These industries are significant polluters. The guidance produced here will serve both monitoring and enforcement agencies to better protect the water of the basin. Due to COVID-19, the completion of this deliverable is delayed and is tentatively planned to be completed in September 2020. This will include workshops and reports on potential financing sources for pollution abatement. After the project ends, the materials developed will enable these industries to make strides towards mitigative actions and may be assigned by the appropriate enforcement agencies. Output 1.5, National and Regional Project Advisory Groups. The final delivery for Output 1.5 is national and regional project advisory groups functioning with project support and recommendations for sustainability post-project. The next round of national PAGs and regional working groups are tentatively scheduled for September 2020. The final regional project advisory group meeting is tentatively scheduled for October 2020. While it was hoped that within the scope of the Kura II project, a commission would be formed based on the signing of the agreement between Azerbaijan and Georgia based on the Helsinki Convention, at this time it does not seem likely. However, As noted in the Lessons Learned presentation, alternative institutional mechanisms are under consideration where the regional and national working groups can continue the regional cooperation between the two countries. This mechanism was tested during the project implementation, and it showed successful results in fostering the technical dialogue between the two countries in water resource management issues. By February 2021, we will produce a final report on lessons learned from national and regional project advisory groups formation with recommendations for future coordination in the Kura River Basin, and to serve as an example for coordination elsewhere. Output 1.6 Green Technologies. The target for Output 1.6 on green technologies is to establish public-private partnerships for improved water management practices in the hospitality industry. Because of COVID-19, the second round of the H2O Teleawards has not been possible. In lieu of this, the project junior experts have converted the training on rational water use in the hospitality sector into an online training session in Azerbaijani and Georgian languages. Because it is unlikely the tourism sector will thrive in 2020, the materials developed under this phase will be shared with the beneficiary ministries and tourism authorities for use in the future. Component 2 on capacity building for professional water managers. For this component, the project deliverables are comprehensive electronic database of training materials for professional water resource managers in national language delivered to each country. National training centers equipped with video conferencing equipment for each country, and a final evaluation of capacity building efforts of the project, including baseline and percent improvement for all trainings. These will be delivered through the following outputs: capacity building training for programs for IWRM professionals for different target groups, strengthened capacity for enforcement of water resource protection laws and regulations, and strengthened capacity for information management, data analysis for enhanced IWRM decision-making support. Earlier, over 450 individuals have been trained under the UNDP-GEF Kura II IWM Academy. In the coming 8 months, we will finalize catalogs of materials, impacts, and assessments for all trainings conducted by October 2020. Final database of all trainings and evaluation reports on impacts of training on organization by October, and capacity impact assessment and lessons learned report of the UNDP-GEF Kura II IWM Academy by February 2021. As planned at the beginning of the UNDP-GEF Kura II project, all capacity building must be accessible to the beneficiary countries after the project ends. In this light, all trainings are being converted to web-based training materials and will be provided to the beneficiary ministries prior to completion of the project so that they can be used by future generations of water resource management experts. 3 demonstration projects. Output 3.1 showcase technologies to reduce factual water losses in different sectors. Under Output 3.1, we have been quite active in applying different approaches, but the COVID-19 crisis and other unforeseen challenges have impacted implementation and monitoring of these stress reduction impacts. We have 4 ongoing activities that we will finalize this year. 1, for the Kura Box Educational Toolkit, we will develop virtual trainings in Georgian, English, and Azerbaijani for teachers and students based on the Kura Box, with the lessons addressing 5 main thematic areas for 3 different age groups by September, based on the ED experience in Gori, Georgia. Number 2, we will complete the Hydro Heroes mobile phone app for water saving and identification and reporting municipal water leaks. It is expected that this will be launched in Azerbaijan in August, and once tested, it will be adapted for use in Georgia in November. The development of the app features a globally alterable platform so that it can be used by other municipal water services anywhere in the world. This will be widely promoted through IWLearn and other channels in autumn. 3. Drip irrigation demos with empirical measures of stress reduction impacts, including evaluation, criteria assessment, and upscaling, with a replication strategy for rational water use in agriculture by November. And 4. Coordinating with the NGO IDEA, we will install the piloting of an aquaponics system in the IDEA premises, which will have a dedicated greenhouse facility to host the aquaponics system, and they will cover all operations and maintenance costs, technical staff, and all utilities for water pumps and heating systems. The NGO IDEA will also provide access to the training facility and will use the aquaponics system for promotion and training of farmers throughout Azerbaijan and the wider region. In this output will be handed over to the beneficiary ministries in collaboration with the appropriate national structures and NGOs. This includes web-based trainings on water conservation to be linked to the Kura box provided to the Ministries of Education, promotional materials on rational water use in agriculture to Amelioration of Azerbaijan and the Amelioration Department of the Georgian Ministry of Environment Protection and Agriculture. The responsibility for the aquaponics system and upkeep of the mobile app will be taken over by the NGO IDEA in Azerbaijan. Output 3.2 on Prefeasibility Studies for Pollution Abatement Plans. The target output for 3.2 is Prefeasibility Studies for pollution in each country and workshop with donors held for fundraising in each country. Currently, due to COVID-19, the final donor workshops have been put on hold tentatively until September 2020. This includes final presentations to the government and a workshop for the government, private sector, and interested international finance institutions to seek financial support for implementing these pollution abatement plans and to promote the use of cleaner production mechanisms and green technologies to reduce stresses on the river environment. In line with the work for law enforcement capacity building and on pollution abatement planning, the outputs here will be linked to ongoing improvements for monitoring and enforcement of evolving pollution abatement regulations in both Azerbaijan and Georgia. Enforcement agencies and the private sector together will both benefit from the continued access to all materials developed. Output 3.3 River Restoration Projects. The final outputs are constructed wetland to treat sewage water in Baby Hajigabal Lake in Azerbaijan and the Oxbow Lake and Floodplain Forest Restoration in Kurtsinisi Park, Georgia. For the Hajigabal constructed wetland, once construction works are finalized, the project will contract a local firm to provide operation and maintenance for the constructed wetland and purchase needed equipment for this, and we will provide training to workers to oversee the routine maintenance for the duration of the project. This is critical in the first year of rebed growth for the sustainability of the constructed wetland functions. The project will also provide training to Azersu assigned staff on the operation and maintenance of the engineered wetland prior to the final handover to Azersu in January 2021. For the work in Kurtsinisi Park in Georgia, the international expert is currently developing a long-term river restoration plan to address more than half a century of gravel abstraction in the riverbed that is impacting the drop in the riverbed level and groundwater. This will be done with Civil Engineering Department of Salerno University and will serve as guidance to the long-term restoration of this floodplain. The second type of support from the project in Kura is the procurement and installation of a pump station intake structure and pipelines that will allow water to be diverted from the river into the Oxbow Lakes. As the water levels in these shallow lakes increases, the lakes will join and ultimately reach their natural levels, with overflow returning back to the river. This will allow stagnant water that's currently in these Oxbow Lakes to be refreshed. Indigenous species of fish will be released into these lakes to increase the local wild populations. The third type of support from the project will be the procurement and installation of a set of solar power panels that will be installed to provide electrical power to the pump station for refilling the Oxbow Lakes. This rehabilitation is expected to be completed by November. The project team has ensured that the handover of the project works will include a monitoring and evaluation plan for both river restoration projects. Additionally, the organizations who will be assuming responsibility for these works post-project have incentives to continue to ensure that these will remain operational and to be able to demonstrate the effectiveness of these nature-based solutions to be replicated elsewhere. Please note that all dates in Component 3 may be shifted based on the evolving COVID-19 situation. Component 4, Stakeholder Education, Awareness, and Empowerment. Output 4.1, a team of diverse professional IWRM trainers to work with stakeholders. The project has largely completed the 8 stakeholder trainings held in both countries and is preparing the capacity building materials to be shared online as the final deliverable for Output 4.1. Additional trainings for journalists and parliamentarians will depend on COVID-19, though these may be developed as online courses depending on the duration of the quarantines. All public awareness training materials are planned to be available in national languages online on the project webpage by October 2020. Output Sustainability Post-Project. The public awareness of their role in water management issues will remain an ongoing priority for both countries, especially with the current drought. The materials developed under the Kura II Project can serve as an important basis for improving understanding, and the trainings conducted will be available online with the IWM Academy outlined in Component 2 above. This will include trainings related to gender mainstreaming in water management, civil society in water management, and trainings for farmers on water conservation. Additionally, short awareness-raising videos are being developed by the project, which can serve as awareness materials by ministries, NGOs, teachers, and other interested stakeholders. At 4.2, Academic IWRM Conferences, the main deliverable for Output 4.2 focuses on regional academic conferences for the Kura River management for IWRM master's students. During the COVID-19 crisis, the project has been able to facilitate the master's programs to meet through technological support and coordination. In May, the Kura project team hosted a virtual Zoom IWRM master's student conference with Baku State University and Tbilisi State University. This focused on IWRM challenges of the Kura River Basin and serves as a model for future meetings between these programs. The cost and logistics associated with hosting a formal academic conference may become outdated after the global experience with COVID-19. As such, continued coordination between the IWRM master's programs in Georgia and Azerbaijan could be fostered by the technological opportunities experienced here. These technical support of the Kura project was requested by these universities together as their own initiative. It was expected that additional conferences will be set up within the duration of the project, with the understanding that after the project ends, these will continue available technologies. Output 4.3, empowering social marketing campaigns. The social marketing campaigns held in each country are the cumulative deliverable for Output 4.3. The current plans, pending COVID-19, are to launch the social marketing materials, including public awareness-raising posters and videos, comic books, social media materials, and materials linked to the mobile app and online CuraBox course by August. All documentation, including distribution logs, impact assessments, and public accessing materials online, will be recorded to February 2021. After the project ends, these materials can be reused and updated in the future by the beneficiaries on an as-needed basis, especially when countries are experiencing droughts or other issues that highlight the importance of water in the basin. Output 4.4, Local Competitions for Innovations. The Output 4.4 main deliverables is water management innovations developed and awarded in both countries. The early competition has allowed us to trial these ideas and bring them to fruition, which will be finalized this year. As noted above, for Output 1.6 for the H2O TEL Awards and Output 3.1 for the Hydro Heroes app, these have been developed with the intention of handing these over to relevant bodies before the end of the project. The tourism associations in both Azerbaijan and Georgia have expressed an interest in continuing the H2O TEL Awards, as have the beneficiary ministries. The Hydro Heroes app will become the responsibility of the NGO IDEA. This app is being developed to work in Georgia and to be globally alterable so that it can be adopted by municipal water companies globally. This will be completed this year and shared widely for replication. Output 4.5 of the project involvement in GEF International Waters Learning Exchange and Resource Network, IWLearn, will continue. Sharing the successes and lessons learned of the project with the wider global water communities is the main deliverable for Output 4.2. In October 2020, the 10th GEF International Waters Conference is planned to be held in Uruguay. Selected members of the project team and national focal points are encouraged to attend this meeting to share experiences and meet colleagues from around the world. As noted above, the output for IWLearn is to preserve all of the project materials, lessons learned, trainings, experience notes, and other outputs on the IWLearn servers in perpetuity. This includes the full project web page and all reports in English, Azerbaijani, and Georgian languages, so that all national, regional, and international stakeholders can maintain access to these materials and continue to learn and benefit from them. Project Component 5, Improved Science for Governance. Output 5.1 has two main final deliverables. The first is guidelines for conjunctive ground and surface water management developed, piloted for online monitoring of transboundary groundwater, and the second is training and implementation of hydrological modeling in one subbasin in each country. The full installation of the online groundwater monitoring system and training in its use is delayed by COVID-19. A 2-day training of the operation and maintenance of the installed monitoring network will be organized for the representatives of the Hydrogeological Department in each country to ensure sustainability. This training will be conducted by November 2020, immediately after full installation of the monitoring system, to focus on the operation and preventative maintenance of the system. The project agreed with the hydrogeological departments in each country to take responsibility for the operation and maintenance of the monitoring network stations in each country. The application of the hydrological modeling in one sub-basin in each country is being conducted by teams of national experts under direct supervision of the International Expert for Water Supply and Demand. These teams will gain the experience to set up the model in other subbasins and analyze its results to support decision-making processes. These trainees are being trained to train others in the application of this approach, and outcomes, scenarios, and recommendations reports will be developed by December 2020. Output 5.2, an assessment of the economic and social benefits per unit of water used in the different sectors. Economic valuation of water services per unit of water was calculated for hydropower, municipal, and agricultural sectors in each country, and trainings on WEEP economic modeling for water management is key deliverable for Output 5.2 and have been completed during the year 2019 and early 2020. The dissemination of the project economic reports and training materials created momentum to incorporate economic dimensions in water resource management in both Azerbaijan and Georgia. The project economic analysis reports encourage the two countries to start using these economic tools for rational water use. The Georgian Amelioration Company is preparing a new tariff structure for its water services based on one of the project output reports. Also, the project was approached by the Azerbaijan Ministry of Ecology and Natural Resources to provide support in establishing a new differentiated tariff for water use in different sectors roadmap. This report will be ready by mid-August 2020. Output 5.3, the Staged River System Ecological Assessment Program. The main deliverable for Output 5.3 is the ecological database established in both countries and data collected in at least one subbasin in each country. This will contribute to the national online database for public use of ecological data for Shamkir Chai and Alijan Chai rivers in Azerbaijan and the Aragvi River Basin in Georgia by December 2020. This populated database for regional use will support the implementation of an updated river ecological classification structure and methodology. The final report on river system ecology will be based on an assessment in the eFlow studies by February 2021. The project prepared the guideline for 2-year plans for ecological monitoring. This guideline has been tested during the collection of the ecological data for the environmental flow study. This guideline, together with the databases of the ecological data collected by the project teams, will be handed over to the national focal point in each country to continue monitoring the ecological status in other river basins. Output 5.4, protocols in place to support data and information exchange for sound IWRM decision-making at national and transboundary levels. The final deliverables for Output 5.4 are harmonization of water quality indicators, parameters, including sampling and analysis, and laboratory standards operating procedures, all to be in line with the international standards ISO 17025. To achieve this, we will support the exchange of expertise training on the analysis of pesticides for the water lab staff in Azerbaijan by a Georgian chemist from NEA in August 2020, hold the 5th meeting for the 2 regional working groups for water quality and water quantity in September, update the State of the Kura River report by December, and finalize the report on shared water quality indicators by February 2021. The project is currently discussing with members of the 2 regional working groups in water quantity and water quality the mechanisms for sustainability of their collaborative work after the project support will end. The project purchased all teleconferencing equipment for the 2 countries to be used during the project trainings. This equipment will be handed over to the beneficiary ministry in each country in November 2020. This equipment can be used to organize future virtual meetings for the members of these two working groups to continue exchanging knowledge and share information on the water quantity and water quality issues.